All right, so in this video, I have a pair of sneakers that I picked up from a Nike sale for as low as $71, which is really a crazy, crazy price point. The thing is this pair 10 years ago was actually selling for $2,000. So why is it that I could buy this shoe like 10 plus years later, which is the LeBron 9 LeBron Palmer colorway? There was a decent amount of hype around this colorway, but then now we have them in 2022 sitting at outlets, sitting on Nike.com on the super sale section, eligible for discounts, deep discounts and everything. Again, $71, retail was $200 on this pair. So why is this the case? I kind of wanted to do a discussion about it and a pro and con analysis of a sneaker release like this. That really is one that a lot of people wanted back in the day, at least so we thought, until they actually released them. And then it just was another release that ended up happening, and now we have them again for some super crazy prices. Let's go ahead and get in the video and show you guys a LeBron Palmer 9 lows, and appreciate y'all for stopping in. So my name's Hess. If you guys are new to my channel, I post sneaker content, so hit that subscribe button, notification bell if you want to be notified of when my videos are posted. This is one of those shoes that I copped on sale again for 71 bucks. It's such a crazy price, and honestly I was so geeked because I wanted the shoe when it dropped, but I didn't necessarily want to pay $200 for the shoe. It wasn't a shoe that was flying off of shelves. But it was one that I had on my radar because it was a colorway that I definitely enjoyed from back in the day. So before this colorway actually was released, we had some other LeBron 9 retros that did not do so well on the resale market, and some of them were highly sought after previously unreleased sneakers like these, such as the Watch the Throne LeBron 9s. Those ones were definitely something that people were interested in, but the resale market wasn't super crazy on them. Back in the day, those shoes were selling for thousands, and then they released and they were selling for close to retail, and I'm pretty sure you can get them for retail or less right now. Also, you had the Big Bang 9s, probably one of the most popular LeBrons ever to release, in my opinion. I just love the orange colorway, but it was one that was part of the Galaxy pack. And then we had the Galaxy Foamposites and some Kobe's and some other KDs and stuff as well. The LeBron Big Bangs came back though, and then they were at outlets in select sizes as well. I picked up a pair of those for retail really easily, and I was stoked about it. But those two colorways were definitely something that helped set the tone for what we saw with this, because this is one of those shoes, again, it was not a released pair. There was samples of this shoe, a couple different samples floating around of this one, the LeBron Palmer 9 lows, and it was something that a lot of people, we thought, maybe would have liked to actually own. And then when they released, everybody kind of went ghost. So interestingly enough, I knew that they were going to drop in price eventually, so I was waiting for the right sale price. 50% off was pretty good, but even lower than that, $71 instead of $200 was the price. I was like, okay, like I've waited long enough. This is a shoe that I wanted, so I was happy to pull the trigger at that $71 price point. But it brings me to a really interesting question, and just the idea of like a limited edition sneaker being something that was so rare and scarce back in the day, then they release it in mass quantities, and then now it's virtually worthless. I think that's a really interesting thing to see. We've seen it over and over again, but usually it's with a retro of a pair of sneakers that already came out years ago in mass production quantities, and then they're re-releasing it in mass production quantities years later. This is a shoe that, again, was a PE and never released, and then now they're releasing it in mass production quantities, and then not very many people want it. But I think what it tells us is there's a lot of people that don't even know that this was a PE from back in the day. They just know it's a LeBron 9 that came back. It's a retro shoe. They might not know the actual history behind the colorway, which is totally fine, but it exposes something pretty massive in the sneaker market, and that is that there's not as many sneaker people out there that we think there are necessarily. There's collectors, there's people that like the idea of collecting, there's people that want to be a trendsetter, and there's people that want to ride out trends, but then there's those niche collectors, especially people like collecting PEs and stuff. There's not very many people out there actually in the sneaker market that really is focused on just samples and PEs and player exclusives for those people that don't know. Just shoes that have never actually had a public release. Just because the price point on the original pairs were $2,000 doesn't mean the demand on that shoe is valued at $2,000. And I think that's a misconception that I think a lot of people just fall for because they look at the overall value of a shoe on the resale market. But you got to realize there's probably one pair available or 2 or 10 pairs available in like a PE form where the resale market is so incredibly high on a shoe that never released, versus a pair that releases that's 30,000, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 pairs that actually end up releasing of a colorway. And then you realize that there's not 500,000 people that are willing to pay $2,000 for a pair of sneakers. So it's really interesting to see the overall evaluations of a product just go down the tank when they have a general release or a GR release. The other thing is not all of the products are going to fall in this same category. Like you look at the Air Jordan retros, anytime there's an Air Jordan retro, specifically an Air Jordan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 in the OG colorways, they're going to drop at retail for $200 or $220 or whatever it is. prices are going to go down. 3 to 5 years later, those are going to be worth much more than the retail was, because it's an iconic colorway of a pair of sneakers that Jordan played in. There was only 4 or 5 colorways usually of the Air Jordan 2, 3, 4, 5 of the OG colorways that Jordan actually rocked and played in. So they can keep retroing those every 5 years. Back in the day, it was every 10 years, and now it's like almost every 5 years they're retroing those products. And they're going to have their peaks and they're going to go up and down, but overall they're pretty evergreen. They're not going to go under retail unless Jordan Brand goes crazy and like just has them produced in the millions. Anyways, I want to know your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about the LeBron Palmer Low 2? It's a play on the Arnold Palmer. For those that don't know, it's ice, tea, and lemonade, which you could see on the insole of the shoe. And they called it a LeBron Palmer. Obviously, there is like some tropical theme, flower and like palm tree sort of vibes on the upper with that yellow and then the green. This one has some fused overlays and underlays that you could see through the mesh. And then also you have a mesh tongue at the bottom, a fused tongue at the top. You do have like a LeBron diamond back here in gold. And then the outsole is kind of nice as well. A little lemonade hits and a little bit of vibrant like orange color as well. The box colors say white lime and bright mango, so I guess that's a bright mango on the outsole, the swoosh, and then also the liner. Some of my favorite details about the shoe, I like the extra material right here that has that bright mango for the lockdown. I just like the extra little pop there, similar to like the Jordans back in the day where the eyelets sometimes had different colors than the base of the shoe. I like that that is a little bit of a variance there. I do like also the fused on Nike swoosh on the side. It's something that I've always liked, and the liner and then the insole liner as well. The lemonade color outsole is a plus as well, and then the bright mango for the air unit in the middle of the shoe is also a nice plus. I really like this colorway back in the day regardless of the hype, and so I really was looking forward to being able to pull the trigger on these when they ended up coming out. They do fit a little bit snug, as do most of the LeBron 9s do in my opinion, so LeBron 9s I usually go with a size 10 instead of a 9.5. I think that this release is really going to set the tone for the way that they retro LeBrons in the future, potentially, because you have a bunch of different PEs that LeBron played in the 3s, 4s, 5s, and just other models that he specifically had that nobody else really had. So I want a LeBron 4 Fruity Pebble, just like probably most of the other collectors out there. However, if they mass produce that shoe like they did this one, it's just not going to be something that sells out. The LeBron 4 is not everybody's favorite looking model anyway. It's hard to put on. It's heavy, but I really like that Fruity Pebble version with the outsoles and stuff, the way they did those back in the day. It was just such an eye-catching pair. Another one that I'd love for them to release, which they've done more modern takes on, the same as what they did with this, but the Stewie 6s, I'd love to see a release of those if they ever retro them. But it's an interesting thing because at the end of the day, you're going to have people that wait to buy the shoes. They might sit and go to outlets at super deep discounts, and the luster might not be there. But overall, I think it's a win for people like myself that just kind of wanted the shoe. And even though I didn't want to pay $200 retail or whatever for the shoe, I did get them at a discounted price, and I do have them in my collection. And there's some sort of a sense of accomplishment that comes with that because it's a shoe that I've always wanted, and then now I'm able to get a pair at a decent price. There really is a double-edged sword at play here, because if Nike released these in mass quantities, people are not going to buy them. They're sleeping on them. They're terrible. They're trash or whatever. And then Nike's just trying to cash grab because they're releasing something that was once coveted and now releasing it to the masses. So it's like making them look bad in a sense because they think that they're just trying to get a payday off of it. However, the other edge of the sword is in play now. What if they release only very limited quantities of this sneaker and nobody got them that really wanted the shoes? The resale markets were over $1,000 on them, and people were pissed because they were not able to get their hands on the shoes. They're going to say, why didn't Nike make more? They could have made more. They should have always just made more. That's what everybody says, right? So the grass is always greener, right, on the other side, and so you can never appease everybody. But there is a slippery slope, but there's a very interesting balance between desirability and anger for most of the people out there when they're trying to buy a product. I'm not one that's angry that I'm able to get my hands on a pair of them finally. However, the people that had the original pairs, the sample pairs and everything else, they might be the ones angry that they got caught holding the bag because now they released him, and it's like no shoe is off limits, right? Nike can really just bring back anything at any point, and people will buy it to some capacity, but at what price point, I guess, is really going to be the answer. So it'll be interesting to see the way they retro the other LeBrons that are going to be coming out in the years to come. But LeBron's been in the game for 20 years, man. He has a lot of gems out there, and Kobe has some gems out there as well that we'd love to see make a return. KD also. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of different pairs that could have a retro again, and even if they brought them back and they're not worth $1,000+ like some of the models maybe are now, at least it gives us the opportunity to be able to have that product again and have that similar vibe. But anyways, leave some comments on what you guys think. If you guys want to buy a pair of these, I will link them in the description. I think some of them are still available on Nike's website. But anyways, thanks for stopping by and watching. Hope you guys have a good day, and hopefully see you back for some more videos. All right, peace, guys.